Good day and welcome to Setons Clutch for my third cast in as many days. This time I've opted for a team game rather than 1v1, and not just a team game but a cult map, a very popular map in Setons Clutch. A map that I particularly used to play quite a lot. It's a map I still have a lot of affection for, and you can see some really interesting tactics being employed, and all factors of the game in terms of air, land, economy, it's all there. So quite an interesting map from that perspective. I'll run through the players and just explain what each role does for those that don't already know, and let's see what happens. So we'll start with the South team first. On air you have Autistic Cow, which is me, the oppressive cow, a T3 air position, so I'd expect to see myself teching as fast as possible and getting T3 air typically, albeit I can warn you this might be a slightly unconventional game. On the rock position we have Gareth, who is predominantly a navy player, likes to play rock more than anything else, occasionally beach. Quite a good navy player, up and coming. Be interesting to see how he gets on. We have Tokuto front, who doesn't normally play Setons. It will be a challenge for Tokuto, but a very talented player, very unconventional, and I'm sure that he'll be able to cope with the challenge ahead faced with Lisco. So we'll expect to see Tokuto head into the front, looking for this mass. In terms of rating, Tokuto is ahead of Lisco, but Tokuto not being as familiar with the map, that could come into play as the game progresses. On the beach position we have MLG 420 no scope, a very flexible player, can play all maps, can play 1v1, can play air, land, navy, can do it all. Very much an up and coming player, someone that I've kept a close eye on, and somebody that I really respect. So moving up onto the north team, as we've already said, we've got Lisco, who is a little bit more familiar with Setons but perhaps not as familiar with front. Moving to front, taking some Lobos with him, presumably to attack Tokuto as he reclaims. This mass should be really shared with the team as much as possible, so once Tokuto's or Lisco's bar is full, that mass will then overflow to the teammates. Really vitally important. You would normally see an engineer coming up a little bit earlier just for the additional reclaim. The more mass you get to your team, the more help you can expect. We've got UFC Gladiator on the rock position, very much a Setons regular. He has been playing Setons since GPG. I remember him from GPG, and although his rating's quite low, he's quite useful, so likes to drop and sometimes does some unusual tactics. I can see a drop already going in there from MLG 420 no scope, so I'll keep an eye on that one, and indeed a bomber coming out from Yorick. Yorik's another team game player, not sure about 1v1, but I have seen him on various team game maps. Very useful, very flexible, and somebody whose ratings increased quite quickly over the past few months. And finally we have Laneless, probably the most talented player on their team. Very good at all aspects of the game, plays lots of different team games, and is particularly useful at air, so very much the stronger player in the air game, looking at the two sets of air players, even though it is myself. So MLG 420 no scope has managed to drop and is just building a little proxy base here, and that's going to just help Autistic Cow from the air position to just get ahead by producing some auroras, killing engineers, killing mass extractors at a very important time for an air player, which is you'd normally see quite early RASes on RAS is the resource allocation system for your commander, provides additional power, means you can produce T3 air. So indeed what we will be looking at here shortly is T2 power being built. Now with some of the mods that we have in place, I would expect to see Laneless go in, starting his RAS upgrade. Sometimes some people even start it when the first power gen isn't complete. However, that depends on the overflow from teammates and various other things. So we can see that there's several factories laid down here from MLG 420 no scope. Yorick's reacted to help out. Looks like Gladiator is walking his commander up just to give a hand, but this is going to cause Laneless some problems here because he's already lost 3 mass extractors. He's had to place a PD down, which this all costs mass. Which when you're trying to do your RAS, you really just want to focus on that, especially on this particular map. So Yorick's helping out with some bombers and his commander just to try and stop this proxy base from growing and causing additional problems there, which should help Autistic Cow get ahead in the air game. So it'll be interesting to see who gets their first RAS done first. As we can see, Lanerless is already underway. Autistic Cow is just starting his, or I'm just starting mine, whichever you want to say. Looks like there must have been a drop there that I perhaps missed. That will have been from Gladiator, something that he's well known for. And indeed, it looks like they've dealt with the majority of the proxy base issues there. And Lanerless is now almost halfway through his RAS. You can see a transport being built there. Now bear in mind, I know what happens in this game. That transport's being given to MLG 420 no scope, so that's something to keep an eye on. We also have another T2 transport here for Gareth, and as you can see, Gareth is getting into that transport. The other transport for MLG 420 no scope is heading over there. Tokuto's headed into the water, so not a great deal going on for a bit of a standoff there between two sets of units. Yorick wisely using the bombers that he had to deal with the proxy base to take out some of Tokuto's units. We now have 2 comms in the air, which is quite unusual. A drop going in from Gladiator down the bottom here, but I think we may well see something reasonably unprecedented on Setons Clutch. Oh yes, we have a 3-comm drop. Now, will these comms get down? Bearing in mind there's air there. We've got air from Gladiator. I don't think he spotted the comms. Oh, they have now because the ping's gone up. All comms are in the air. Where are they headed? That is the question. Will they go for Gladiator? Will they go for Lanerless, which would be the obvious choice? Lots of air here coming from Yorick, so that's going to go from one of the comms. It'll be interesting to see if he stays alive. Very wisely they split. That's the end of Gareth. That's the end of his game. So bit of a shame, that one. It looks like MLG 420 no scope's going to get down, and indeed it's going to be a double comm drop on Lanerless. Lanerless has reacted very, very quickly to get some PD down to try and defend his base. But bearing in mind he's just been doing RAS and he'd already been dropped, it's a big problem for Lanerless. So he's going to have some real problems here. So he needs to retreat, otherwise he's going to get killed. So his teammates need to really help him now, because he's not going to be able to get his air up, and that gives Autistic Cow the chance to just bring units in and start bombing. And as you can see, Autistic Cow has brought some T1 air, which presumably was to support the initial drops. Meanwhile, Tokuto and MLG 420 no scope are getting some PD down to destroy the remaining base and take over this area here. Let's just speed things up just a little bit. Autistic Cow's got the additional base from Gareth. Obviously, there's not a great deal going on from the point of view of Navy from Yorick, and the reason for that is because of this drop here. This is the real key. Yorick's managed to get his Rastum, which could prove to be reasonably useful from the energy perspective. MLG 420 no scope getting some factories down, get some units out to cope with this spam here from Lanerless and from Yorick. Autistic Cow is now producing some strap bombers from his T3 factory, and very interestingly we have some Mercies, some mobile missiles, which it appears nobody realises this is there. That's poor scouting from Autistic Cow. So it looks like this might be the end of somebody. And it is. MLG 420 no scope bites the dust and is now at the game. So that's quite a good snipe from Gladiator there. Meanwhile, we have Mercies going in from Tokuto. So he's actually converted that factory. That's something I missed from the original game, so that's excellent. He's converted the factory and he's now using Lanerless's own factory against him. Gladiator is retreating, and Takuto's using the tactical missile launchers to... I think he went for the commander there. Nice spam here from Yorick trying to deal with this. Some additional units given to Autistic Cow, and more mercies going in there. Takuto very wisely getting out, and there's a strat bomber going in to finish off Gladiator. Missed that one a little bit. So much going on in this game, really hard to keep up. So we are left with Lisco and Yorick to try and deal with this unusual situation on Setons Clutch, where it seems that Laneless has been bullied quite some by everybody, and it's quite a difficult one for reaction. So we've got that's interesting. So we've got a couple of beetle snipes here from Yorick. Not sure where he's going with that one, or whether that was seen. This was quite a while back. The one was idle, so the strat bomb actually worked in that case. We also have... Are those beetles as well? I think we've got beetles from Takuto. Meanwhile, Autistic Cow's bombing as much as he can with those strat bombers. Takuto's placing the beetles down, ready, given that Yorick's in the water, so he can't really do anything with Yorick at the moment. The beetle snipe from Yorick is not going to reach its destination, intercepted by T3 Air. Beetle snipe is going for Lisco, which, if it's microed in the right way, will result in the end of Lisco's game. Autistic Cow trying to steal the kill with a bomb, but it's only going to do a little bit of damage. And there we go. That's the end of Lisco. So only Yorick remaining. Bear in mind this map is on full share. So when someone dies, their base is passed to the remaining players, which in this case is Yorick. Yorick is in big trouble now. There's a destroyer there with torpedoes coming out, meaning that he needs to really think about getting out of the water. But then there's also strat bombers in the air, an awful lot of units. If those had have if this had continued somewhat, those could have caused Takuto's base a problem. Takuto's now dropped his comm in, knowing that air's not really a problem, and he's trying to force Yorick out the water so that he can get bombed by Autistic Cow, or perhaps kill him himself. Yorick's putting some PD down. Valiant effort to keep the game going, but I think this one is very much at the end, just waiting for the strat bombers to come in and kill Yorick to seal the end of the game. And that's some good micro from the comm. It's very much a skill to dodge strat bombers, but he's not going to be able to do it forever. And indeed, I think Takuto's actually control K'd his comm and used it to seal the final kill. A really unconventional game on Setons, nice and short rather than the 2 hours that you'd normally expect to see. It's a game that was very much fun to play, very much fun to watch back, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have casts that you want to send me, even on large maps like this, especially if they're short or unconventional, I'll be very happy to cast them. I hope you enjoyed. I welcome your feedback. I did get some feedback about the volume on my mic being a little bit too quiet on my previous casts, so I've tried to address that. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.